Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Hive in session. I'm your host, Ben, as always, and I'm really pleased to be joined by Kelly Gaston of 13 Housing. Kelly, thank you for coming on with me today.
Hi, good morning, Ben. Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. So, Kelly, I believe you're going to be taking us through this morning some of the more values-based work that's gone on at 13. Is that right?
Yes, it is. Yeah, we've done a huge amount in terms of our values-based behaviours over the last couple of years. So we thought it was just timely for us to share our story with Hive because that's played a huge part for us as well.
Hey, really good to hear that. Well, I think that really like a good place to start for people who might not be too familiar with maybe undertaking this type of work or why a business would be interested in that kind of thing is just sort of what kind of brought it about in the first instance, Kelly?
Yeah, so for us, obviously, we're a housing association and we started to really focus our energy, and we have done for many, many years, on our colleague experience. So it was important for us to make sure that moving forward with our people strategy, that we've got that passion within the business and that desire and energy to be able to want to make our colleagues kind of thrive in the business. So we didn't just want co-workers, we wanted to make sure that our colleagues had a great day at work. So that's a huge part of the work that we do, but that had a great colleague experience as well. We spend a lot of time at work, so it's really important for our colleagues to come to work and feel energized and connected and informed about the work that we do. But it is much more than that, Ben. It's about them being ambassadors and advocates for everything that we do at 13, because that really shines through to our customers as well.
Mm-hmm. And so I suppose when you talk about like how to make the most of people's time at work, not just from like a productivity standpoint, but or even like a job satisfaction standpoint, but like an out and out happiness perspective, right? It's then linked back to that values piece. So does that, and I assume that involves sort of going back to the workforce in general and sort of speaking to them about what matters to them and maybe where they find pride and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. For us, I mean, obviously we've worked with yourselves for the last few years, and the employee engagement surveys that we have provides us with a lot of insight and feedback to how our colleagues are feeling, in daily life and on the ground, and what it is that we can improve on, but also what our strengths are too. So for us, throughout 2020, we've been working hard behind the scenes on revising our people strategy, our values-based behaviours. And then at the beginning of 2021, we shared those newly revised values-based behaviours. But that came from a session a couple of years ago, so probably 18 months ago, really. So prior to COVID, we asked a lot of our colleagues, a cross-section of those colleagues in the business, what does a great day at work look and feel like? We didn't feel it was right for us in the people team to devise and design those values-based behaviours. It had to come from our colleagues. So we asked them, what does a great day at work look and feel like? And they said to us, they wanted to feel proud about the work that they do. They wanted to feel energized and in control, connected and informed, and they wanted to feel quite challenged in the work that they do too, and valued, which of course is what every colleague wants to feel. So we spent some time behind the scenes with Hive, working those up, and we presented those to both the leadership team and the rest of the business. And over the last kind of 4 months, we've been spending some time going out to the business and sharing that with our colleagues.
And what's been some of were there any kind of surprising values or anything that came back, Kelly? Anything that you might not have necessarily been expecting?
I think one of the biggest things is that health and wellbeing plays a huge part for us, for both our colleagues and the organisation. And I think that's probably come to life more with COVID. I think people have recognised the importance of bringing the best version of themselves to work. And that's what colleagues had said. They understood that they needed to play a role in this, but also that we needed to create the right environment for our colleagues to be able to flourish and thrive as well. So that was important for us.
Yeah. And I think you talk about people bringing like their best selves into work and things. I think it's become sort of almost more normalized over the last kind of 14, 15 months for like people to bring all of themselves into work, or to invite maybe more work like back into their own lives as well. I think that where we're seeing, certainly, as is the case today, where, we do things like this over Zoom, and somebody might be at home, somebody might be in the office, you're kind of seeing a little bit more of that person's life than you might ordinarily.
Yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree. And I think at 13 over the last year, we've been very supportive of, everybody's situation, everyone's situation and circumstances have been different. Some people have loved working at home. Some people have really missed being in the office and seeing colleagues. So we recognise that everyone's experience has been different and difficult for some. So we've done everything that we can to support our colleagues. But I think one of the biggest things that's come out, Ben, is that feeling connected and informed for us. So the way that we used to all stay connected previously looks different to the way that we stay connected and informed now. So we've had to work really hard at 13 to make sure that we continue to provide business updates. We've been doing leadership webinars for some time. Obviously, we use Teams and Zoom and different platforms to stay connected, but that's something that we're really going to be focusing on a lot more, both from an individual perspective, so individuals and teams making that effort to take proactive action, if you like, to stay connected with other areas of the business, and also for us from a central organisational perspective as well.
Cool. So you've gone out, you've done this groundwork, you've understood the types of values that people want to, I suppose, like see reflected in the work, but also like live out as it relates to their own performance. Like, what are some of the ways in which, I suppose, or what's been the best way that you've gone back to communicate this back to the workforce then?
Yeah, so what we've done is from January 2021 onwards, so up until present day, we have been going out and sharing these newly revised values-based behaviours with the workforce and the business in team meetings. But what we've done is we've said, this is what our colleagues have said that they would like to create a culture of, and how a great day at work feels and looks for our colleagues and for themselves as well. But what we did was we took the opportunity to be able to go one step further, to say, so what do you think is working well for you at the moment as a team? What do you think is hindering you? And what do you think you could start doing? So we created some great days at work action plans, and each of our teams have got them. We've collated all of that insight and feedback, and we've shared that with our exec and service directorate team. And we're going to have a look at what it is that we need to do from an organisational perspective, what we can do from a service directorate perspective, but also what the colleague and team have said that they would like to start doing. And that, Ben, has been quite it's been a really engaging and energising activity, and I think it's provided a lot of opportunity for colleagues to reflect and say, actually, let's just pause. What's working really well for us? So what do we want to keep doing? What actually is it that we need to start doing? So do we need to build some more time in to come off the job and really kind of connect as a team, or look at how we improve things? And what is it that we need to stop doing that's hindering us from, for example, feeling energised and in control or staying connected? So there's been lots of things that's come out of that, and it's been really insightful for us moving forward. But that has also linked with our recent Hive survey. So a lot of the themes that's fallen out of that have fallen out of the Hive survey as well. So we've been able to look at it from a holistic perspective and that bigger picture, and get some really kind of great insight and feedback to help move that business on further.
That's just really, really good to hear, Kelly. And I mean, I think that where you're talking about, almost getting people to, I suppose, not only reflect on these things, but then also put them back down in a survey. I think that, the peace of mind, it occurs to me that kind of the peace of mind around kind of anonymity and not being able to be identified and stuff, that kind of allows people to speak a little bit more freely as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's been a big thing for us, particularly over the last year and prior to that as well. Having that, we have as part of the Hive survey, there's the confidential messaging service. So what we've been able to do is we've worked with the people team, the HR business partners, to be able to identify some of the scores. And although it is anonymous and confidential, we've been able to use that confidential messaging service to reach out to some of those colleagues who've openly said on the Hive survey responses, I'm struggling, and actually I could do with some support or speaking to somebody. So we've contacted them anonymously. We've been able to reach out through our mental health advocates, and mental health and wellbeing is a huge part of the work that the HR team look after, and the rest of the organisation too. And it's just meant that we've been able to signpost support that we have internally, whether that's through Simply Health, so counselling service, mental health support, or something else for that colleague as well. So yeah, health and wellbeing is huge at 13, and we really take that seriously, and it's really important for us to make sure our colleagues feel that they have the support that they need to be able to come to work and do the job that they do at 13.
Yeah, excellent, Kelly, excellent. And has there been much, I suppose, has there been much gone on there around, I suppose, return to the office and what that might look like and things?
Yeah, there's a huge piece of work then going on at the moment, which is what is work going to look like, the new world of work, when the world resumes and goes back to normal, or the new normal. So there's huge piece of work going on, and we are looking at roles and teams and service directorates and what that means. We've taken into consideration colleague feedback about what they've said about their experiences of working at home, how they would like to see head office and our other sites used moving forward, and the people team are working with the leadership team in terms of what that's going to look like. But no decisions, I don't think, have been decided just yet. It's still work in progress, and I'm sure it's going to be something that's just reviewed continually moving forward.
I mean, you would think that, kind of given the sort of wholesale change, certainly one way that was enforced, and then the massive change that's going to go, not necessarily go back, but go some way to, I suppose, adding a bit more balance, because, you know, like you say, there's going to be different attitudes towards people working from home, coming back in, loving working from home, and it not being the case as well. I think you're right in suggesting that it's going to be a very kind of fluid approach going forward. Yeah. And I suppose it just reinforces the need to, you know, keep those comms channels open and make sure that we're not being, you know, too prescriptive or too, you know, as I say, like autocratic around how we do things like that.
Yeah, and that's really important for us, you know, that flexible working, to make sure that colleagues can, you know, work flexibly where the role lends itself. We've got a diverse set of roles at 13. So we've got lots of people doing lots of different roles. And obviously where it's front facing, where they're dealing with customers, there's a requirement for them to be either on site, dependent on the job, or out in our neighbourhoods. And then for others, it might be that they may do more home working. But I think what all of us have said is that we have missed the people element of seeing people face to face and being in a room and doing some of that collaborative working. So there certainly will be some collaborative workspaces moving forward, and who knows what the future will hold for us. But like you say, it's definitely fluid and something that will be continually reviewed moving forward.
Excellent. Well, Kelly, that's great to hear. I'm conscious not to take up too much of your morning with this. So I suppose the last question I would ask is just, is there any kind of extra tips or insight that you'd care to leave us with that you've got from this kind of value-based work that you've been doing?
Yeah, I think, you know, it goes back to, you know, we've all got those personal objectives that we need to achieve, but the values-based behaviours for us has been a real game changer, which is, it's not just what you do, but it's how you do it and how you take that forward, both for yourself and for your colleagues. And what we've really tried to do is look at, you know, what we need to do as an organisation, what we need to do from that service directorate level, and what the individuals and teams need to do as well. And for us, that's going to create that culture of creating great days at work. So yeah, it's been really insightful for us having the employee engagement surveys. It's given us lots of feedback, food for thought, and it is just that continuous improvement, Ben, to be honest. Keep asking our colleagues, keep checking in with them, and keep looking at, you know, what's going on in the outside world, and how we adapt and be flexible and resilient to that, really.
Excellent. Well, I think that's a great message to leave things on. So Kelly, thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
A pleasure. And thanks, everybody. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you.